Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about Resident Evil remakes and specifically why there will be no Resident Evil 5 remake announcement this year and why instead the next big remake we're likely to see is Resident Evil Code Veronica. All of this comes from multiple reports and inside chatter, with one of the loudest voices being longtime Resident Evil leaker Dusk Golem, also known as Aesthetic Gamer on X, who has been reiterating that Capcom's plans for 2026 do not include a Resident Evil 5 remake announcement, but does include a Code Veronica remake reveal later this year, and that's a pretty big deal for the franchise and its fans. Rumors about a Resident Evil 5 remake gained traction recently after the voice actress for Shiva Alamar, Karen Dyer, teased something exciting in social media post, and that led many fans to assume that an announcement for a redo of Resident Evil 5 might finally be imminent. But according to Dusk Golem, that exciting news she hinted at actually isn't about Resident Evil 5 at all, and it's something else entirely, leaving many people confused and wondering what Capcom's next big move really is. In fact, the insider has been pretty clear that Resident Evil 5 is not going to be announced as a remake in 2026, and the tease isn't connected to it, even though it got a lot of fans hyped up. Instead of a Resident Evil 5 remake, what Capcom is reportedly preparing to reveal this year is a remake of Resident Evil Code Veronica, a game that originally launched in 2000 and later in enhanced form as Code Veronica X. This title has long been a favorite among hardcore fans of the series because of its story, its unique setting on Rockford Island, and its place in a larger Resident Evil timeline just after the events of Resident Evil 2 and before the major conflicts in future games. According to these inside reports, Capcom plans to announce this remake sometime in 2026, even though an official statement from Capcom itself has not yet been made. The idea behind a Code Veronica remake is intriguing for several reasons. First, it's a classic entry that has never received the full Resident Evil engine makeover that Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, and Resident Evil 4 have enjoyed, meaning fans have been clamoring for a modernized version for years. A remake on the Resident Evil engine would not only update the visuals, but also potentially modernize gameplay and narrative beats, bringing new life to Claire Redfield's mission against Umbrella and adding clarity to key story threads that link into later games like Resident Evil 5. In addition, multiple sources and fans online point out that Code Veronica's story and characters are foundational to the larger universe, making it a logical next step before Capcom tackles a full Resident Evil 5 overhaul. Insider chatter also suggests that the Code Veronica remake may be released in 2027 after its 2026 reveal, with Resident Evil Zero's remake possibly following in 2028, creating a mini lineup of remakes that fill in the story gaps before a big Resident Evil 5 project ultimately gets underway later in the decade. That timeline not only gives Capcom time to polish each project, but also lets fans rediscover these older games in a more accessible and modern format, which many believe strengthens the franchise overall. Of course, it's important to note that all these details are still rumors until Capcom makes any official announcements, but the pattern of insider information coming out now strongly supports Code Veronica's remake reveal this year. For fans of Resident Evil 5 who have been waiting for a remake, this news can feel a little disappointing because, yes, it looks like there literally won't be an announcement in 2026, but there's still reason to be hopeful. Capcom has expressed publicly that it loves remaking classic titles that have never received modern updates, and executives have hinted that more remakes are planned down the line after the success of Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4 and the Resident Evil engine. So while it might feel like Resident Evil 5 is getting skipped this year, the industry sentiment and franchise history suggest it will eventually get revisited with modern technology, just perhaps not until after Code Veronica and other legacy titles receive their revamps first. So that's the latest on this Resident Evil remake situation. No Resident Evil 5 remake announcement this year, and instead a Code Veronica remake is scheduled as the next big reveal. If you're a fan of surprising twists in franchise planning, this definitely qualifies, and it'll be exciting to see how Capcom approaches Code Veronica with modern controls, updated visuals, and potentially new story elements added to fit the current narrative continuity. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful in sorting through all of the rumor and report noise, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. It really helps support the channel and it keeps you in the loop when the big announcements finally drop. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon, where the latest Patreon exclusive deep dive is all about licensed games that were actually good. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, game on.